Hello, I'm Ryan McEachern and welcome to The DIG. On this episode, we will be talking to Rami Faour from Progesys about companies taking the COVID-19 shutdown as an opportunity to do a fresh restart. But first, we have our own Stephanie Alvarez to share some important information. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Ryan. We are excited to announce that we have a B2B matchmaking event with Aspire Mining from Mongolia. We will announce the dates very soon, so stay tuned for that.
Thanks, Steph. We'll catch up with you later. Progesys are experts in making sure capital projects transition smoothly to operating status. Once an operation starts up, you never want to randomly shut them down. But with COVID-19, many companies had to do just that, shut down. Some companies are turning the crisis into an opportunity to start up and get things right. Let's dig into this with Rami Faour from Progesys. Hi, Rami. Welcome to The DIG.
Thank you, Ryan. Good to be with you.
Yeah. So almost every company has been affected by COVID-19. I'm sure your company as well hasn't been unscathed. Can you share a little bit about how you managed through this so far?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, a lot of companies, they live through this. For us, we saw this coming. We had people in Asia and in Europe, and I think bringing the people back was one of the most important things we did, because we were looking at the human side of this. We had people on sites, let's say in Indonesia, Malaysia. We had people in Europe as well. So we're looking at this. We saw this coming, so we're just waiting to see how it's going to evolve. One of the things that was very important for us is the fact that people can work remotely. So, we do complete project management. We do transition to operations. So our people are a bit working everywhere around the world on different projects. So those people are not used to, or maybe they don't want to be at the office. They're working at the customer sites or in the office of the client. So their capabilities to work remotely was very easy. So the key thing for us was to bring the people home. So,
right.
And I think when Canada, let's say, said, bring the people back home, that's when we decided on it. But, it worked well for us. We have people now, let's say, working on projects in Indonesia. They're working from Canada, Australia, and South America. So everybody's working on the same project there and operating. One of the things I would say also, the fact that we have projects going a bit around the world, we always had people locally trained, and even we recruited people within countries. Whenever we had projects, you had people coming from a lot of countries to the project. So that thing is helping, because now you need people that are local or at the same time zone, let's say. So
yeah, and we're seeing that with other companies, that they fared well if they had local representation, even if companies, say, with specifically to mining, with operations shutting down, albeit intermittently, they were able to react fast to the needs of their customers, because they're not trying to do something just from the head office.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the things I had mentioned at the beginning of the show was the fact that, turning, you might say, lemons into lemonade. How companies are turning this into an opportunity, being forced to shut down and then restart, because we know that once you get something going, you don't want to shut it down just because. So can you share a little bit about what's happening there?
Yes, no, absolutely. And this actually, to give the context, what we do is we have a key service in relation to operational readiness and transition to operations, from construction to operations. So all that commissioning and startup, ramp up phase of any project. So through the years, we've been involved a lot on projects where the operation is ongoing, but the systems and subsystems, they're not operating to their full capacity. So basically, it's a reliability issue. it's related to, the equipment has been running for a long time. There was a lot of tweaking that happened to it. So it's not open, it's not giving you the full production, basically. So production rate, this is what companies look at, what am I getting at the end? And usually what we do is we will go support companies in increasing the reliability of the equipment. So having people, mostly it's people that are specialized in automation and process controls that will come in, work on the system, on the integration of, let's say, the conveyors, the feeders, your crusher, in order to be able to get your right output at the end and never have to shut down or the equipment is not running properly. So, right. And this we usually do it with the operation people because you don't want to shut down, right? The most important is to constantly operate and produce. So this usually is a challenge because it's not easy. Sometimes you need to stop the equipment. You need to fix things on the equipment, whether it's mechanical, electrical, or automation. So when this happened, some companies were looking at this and saying, oh, it's maybe an opportunity. We're going to shut down. So why don't we have a global look at this and restart the right way? So let's say, as an example, you can look at it as a recommissioning. So basically, how can we take all this system and subsystems and go through it, make sure, equipment is running right mechanically, you have no frictions, you don't have issues on the equipment, motors are running right, electrical side is okay, instrumentation, automation, and critically also safety, the equipment is safe to operate. So, and this work, when you're not operating, it could be done, it's so much easier to achieve it when operation is stopped, because you can work on the equipment and you can try it out, try functioning the equipment. So we've done it on many sites, and the results are pretty interesting, because when you go back to operate, you can work also on your SOPs, fix them on your standard working procedures as well. So there's a lot of effort that is done there that could bring a lot of value to the clients, I think.
Excellent. Yeah, that's and it's interesting to see them have that foresight to take advantage of the opportunity, because you don't want to be shut down. That's the reality of it all.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely. And yeah. And the other thing on operating sites, you do need to work with the people of operation and maintenance to do this job, because they've been working on this equipment and with this equipment for a long time. But in order to be able to do this, you want them not to be busy with their operation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're so busy on doing their job. So when unfortunately this some mines needed to either stop or reduce operation because of the situation of COVID or something, some of them took the opportunity and we did help them in this, and the results are pretty interesting. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. And now, looking at companies trying to get back on site, it's definitely restricted access. So I assume planning is even more critical now than it's ever been.
Yeah. This is very, very true. For us, we work a lot on the CapEx side of the business. So when you have the projects, the execution projects, and we're very known for our planning side. We believe that planning, it's key to success. If you plan it right, you could, you need to execute it right as well. But planning is critical. So, we have this, whether it's in the project management, construction management, or when you're going into commissioning and going towards the operation. So if I take commissioning, let's say, on the commissioning side, we believe that coming early enough and starting aligning the priorities of construction is critical. So doing the right planning there is key. With COVID now that is happening, it's becoming even more important. Why is it more important? Because people, you cannot have as many people as you want on site. So you want to make sure that you have the absolute necessary people in the right time. You know, if you look at commissioning, because I know construction is the same thing as well, but if you look at commissioning example, you have often it's a bit it's at the end, so it's underestimated and a lot of stuff is pushed in there, and you have people, you have to plan vendors, different contractors, so it's very intense and there's a lot of activities happening. So the planning, it becomes critical. So one important thing is to bring people that do this physically on site, have done it, they have seen what are the issues, to do risk management with the planning of the activities as well. So,
right, because you don't have the luxury of saying, oh, I forgot it, let's make a call. It's just the supply chains and logistics just aren't set up right now.
Absolutely. You cannot decide a bit last minute to bring a vendor in. You cannot say, oh, I need a process control specialist for something or an automation guy last minute. You have places where you can't bring the people. You have restriction either by the governments, or you have restrictions for getting in and staying 2 weeks before going to
the quarantine.
The quarantine and everything. So it becomes really critical to have a good planning. It doesn't mean that you have to go to, we say that shutdowns, you need to plan for everything that you can do outside of a shutdown.
Right.
You know? So you think everything that you can do outside, so you do it before, and you leave the shutdown for the minimum required. So you don't shut it down for a long time. So it's basically, it's not the same thing, but it's the same thinking. So, okay, so what do we need to have ready to have minimum disruptions on site? So you don't want to be thinking on site, what should I do? You need to have thought about it and have maybe a couple of plans for it. It's not an easy thing to do, but we excel at this on the planning side, because we often are in situations where we're coming to support that transition, which is really critical, and we work on shutdowns and turnarounds. So it's kind of I wouldn't say easy, but it's something that we do a lot. So it's something that we join with all the necessities of social distancing on sites, having the right people. One key element as well is we have people that are multidisciplinary. So because when you look at commissioning, commissioning is you have the disciplines in it, but it's also a holistic view on a system or a subsystem. So the person needs to have the right knowledge with not only the mechanical side, mechanical, electrical instrumentation. So those people, they become critical, because if you can have somebody that has this knowledge, it could save a lot on sites now.
And I see, especially as we move into automation with mining as well, having a multi-talented workforce or multidisciplinary, as you mentioned. I know the future workforce is kind of looking at that as well. Mining companies are looking at their employees that way. So it would make sense that, it would be definitely a benefit for Progesys to have that kind of embedded in their workforce already. Right. And the luxury of not planning, I think, is slowly going away, especially in this, if we will call it a new normal. Right. So
yeah, definitely. Definitely, Ryan. I couldn't agree more. I think the planning side is critical. I mean, when you look at it's really the need. This is what's driving everything, because now there's an impact on mining companies or on projects. Costs could go higher, schedules are impacted. So how can we make sure that we're optimizing this? You know, how can we plan it the right way? One thing I could tell you as well, we at Progesys, we built a software back in 2003, 2004. It's a software that supports the transition from the construction to the operation. It's called Commissioning Force. Mm-hmm. This software is a software now that we're given to clients, actually to our clients, to support them with. It wasn't intended to something like this. It's really something that we use to manage that commissioning, startup, ramp up. So it's something that where you bring in all your engineering data and you manage that transition. It's a cloud-based system. But what's interesting in it is when you put all your data in, it's linked to P6, and you can see where are your people in the areas of the plant. So on you can see it physically, where are the people in the plant. So you can plan better for it. You can see your people on the commissioning side or on the construction side, where are they working? So you would see, oh, it's too intense there. How can we plan it in a different way? This is one thing. And the other thing, it helps with the social distancing because of the fact that it's all cloud-based, you know? So you look at the deficiency, you take a picture of it, you send it to the people, the people can take a decision on it remotely, send it back to you, and off you go. So right. There are some things that I think that could definitely, you know, improve and support customers. And you know, a while back we decided to go, you know, to our customers and tell them, you know, if you need support on it, we're just giving you the software to operate it. We're not doing it all over, but I mean, if somebody needs it, we're more than happy to support them. But it's just, you know, we want to make sure that we're doing it the right way and supporting people the right way.
Right. Perfect. Well, you know, Rami, it's been a real pleasure for you having you on the show and sharing this interesting perspective on COVID and how its operations have been, you know, reacting to it. So thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Good to talk to you.
And thank you for joining us on The Dig. But before we leave, let's bring back Stephanie and get an update.
Hey, Ryan. We are accepting new members, and when you join, you will receive 2 complimentary market intelligence reports of the countries of your choice. To know more about our membership and all of the benefits, please email us at membership@mstacanada.ca.
Thanks, Stephanie. Until next time, I'm Ryan McEachern. Take care and stay safe.